told my husband one day, I'm going to wear this pink suit that I had. And he's like,
Yellow.
that's not pink. It's yellow. And I'm like, oh my God, no. Hey everyone, I'm Charity.
And I'm Austin. Welcome to the Central Vision Podcast.
We're two hosts living with vision loss, sharing honest conversations about life through the lens of blindness and low vision.
From relationships and travel to careers and technology.
From family and confidence to accessibility and everything in between.
We'll share our experiences, ask the questions people are already thinking, laugh through the awkward moments, and explore what it really means to live with vision loss.
So whether you're living with vision loss yourself, love, support, or know someone who is, or you're simply curious looking for a different perspective, you're in the right place.
Welcome to all of our listeners. This is our very first recording, our very first episode of Central Vision Podcast. My name is Austin, and I'm here with Charity, your other co-host. So today we thought we're going to do is just give a little bit of background about who we are, what our vision loss journey really looked like for each of us, and then kind of how the podcast started, and then where we want to go with the podcast. And hopefully you all will enjoy where we're going to go with it. So starting off, Charity, how about you tell us who you are and then get into when it all started for you?
Okay, great. I'm Charity Roach. I am 54. I am married, a mom of 3. My youngest just started her senior year of high school. And my oldest just got married last year. So I've got a wide variety of age of kids, and I have retinitis pigmentosa. I was diagnosed when I was 23. I had just finished college. Up until that point, I had no idea I had any vision loss. Hindsight's 2020, of course. So looking back, I realized that I did have vision loss, even though I didn't recognize it at the time. But yeah, so I was diagnosed when I was 22 or 23. So it's been about 30 years since my diagnosis.
So, but was it, remind me, because I there's so many people in our community, but was it Usher's or was it just straight retinitis pigmentosa?
I am straight RP. Yep, I'm just straight up RP.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay. Now, do you know, just
yeah.
for anyone that actually cares about their genes, do you know what your actual gene is, the one that was affected?
I do. I had genetic testing done in 2018. Up until that point, it had never really been offered to me. When we moved to Georgia, I went to the Emory Eye Center, and they were at that time, I think it was FFB was hosting a study on genes. So my retina specialist asked me if I wanted to participate in that. So I wasn't charged for it, but I did the little spit in the tube test, and about a year later, it took for me to get results. And I am autosomal recessive for the gene FAM161A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you told me when you were diagnosed that you were, was it pharmaceutical or were you like a chemist?
I went to school for chemistry. I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry, and I worked in big pharma. I worked for Pfizer. I started in their labs, and then I switched companies. I ended up moving to South Carolina, working for Roche Carolina, where my career ended. But at that point, I was in more of a management role. I was in quality assurance and validation.
So were you, but what, okay. So, but you had to stop because of your vision, right? That was the thing.
In the end, yeah, I had to stop because of my vision. It just got to the point where I could not effectively do my job. So it was time.
Let someone have a real fun time taking the wrong pill.
Exactly. I was responsible for all of the quality of the materials that left the site, and when you can't really see it, it's a problem.
It's not a good thing. Okay. So how long, so you got your bachelor's, you did all that, but how long did the RP on set for you before, like it was just like how late, how far into your career were you?
So when I was diagnosed, I had less than, I mean, half of my vision was already gone. I was probably at about 40 degrees, which is, that's crazy to me that
That's
someone
huge
could not
now.
know. Like, what? Yeah. But how did I lose 60% of my vision and not even realize it?
Right.
So I had to quit my job in 2011. So I was, oh God, how old was I then? I was 38, I think, at that point in time. So I was 20 years into my career at that
Okay.
point when I had to leave. Yeah.
So I probably should have
Yep.
mentioned for anyone listening to this that, there's tons of different vision conditions that, I mean, it's a mass world of them. And, just like they say with autism, it is a massive spectrum. A lot of people think the
Yeah.
blindness is black or white. And that's honestly, that's what I thought. I thought, like, before all this happened to me, I thought if you're blind, it's just a black sheet over your eyes. And it's like I got taught a lesson.
I was
Yeah.
talking to my husband about it just the other week, and he said, I asked him that question, and he said, until me, he would have thought the same thing. Like
Right.
it was just you either can see or you can't.
Well, there
And
wasn't a
I
lot of
find that
education.
no, there's not. There definitely isn't. I think most of the population who isn't living with what we're living with would think that same thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So what, and to the listeners, what she has is the same thing that what I have, but mine is a little bit different. But it is retinitis pigmentosa. So what that is it, to be honest, I don't even have all the science behind me. You would think the amount of times I go to the office, but it's kind of a blur when you're there. It's just yada yada. You're losing vision. Like, yep, same as last time. God, I'm still healthy. But what it is we are losing our peripherals. So we can see in the center of our eye. We have a central hole for the most part, but it is always progressing. But some people lose it very quickly. Some people lose it slowly. Some people lose it all. Some people don't lose it all. It's a very unknown thing, which is one of the hardest things, at least for me. Of this, you almost wish sometimes, like, either take my vision or don't. But not knowing what's
It,
going to happen is kind of nerve wracking. You know?
it's very hard. So
Yeah.
in that regard, for me, and then I'd like to hear about yours, but
Hmm.
for me, it is almost like I think when I was diagnosed, I would probably say it was like looking through I wanna say like a toilet paper roll or a paper towel
Hmm.
roll, and I would say today it's like, it's not even a straw, it's like a coffee stirrer, it's so
Yeah.
sad. I mean, it's just a little bit, it's just a little bit.
And it's
It
it's crazy, like because you were just saying 40 degrees, like, oh my God, 40 degrees right now sounds
so
amazing,
much.
and most people have 180, but like 40
Right.
degrees, that
I'd be hitting
I
the
would have
lottery
cried
at
over that
40
a while
degrees.
ago. And now
I
it's
know.
like, I saw someone on one of the communities say, I have like 35 degrees, whatever, and still driving, like, Austin for you, man. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't want to say one day
So
you'll learn. I hope you don't, but man, you better enjoy that 35 degrees.
yeah, you really should because you never know when it's going.
No,
And
no.
so, what about you?
So
Tell us about your diagnosis when it came on and where you're at now.
yeah, so I'm 35 and my diagnosis, it's kind of a blur, literally, but it was like 25 years old, I think. And it was maybe 2017. The math, I think, makes sense there, but it was around there. And, I had noticed all of my life that there was something going on. And what I have is RP, and it's actually from Usher syndrome, which is also my hearing as well. But I never ended up losing my hearing, and hopefully that stays the same. It's almost like I've compensated more. My hearing's gotten better because I don't have to worry about or because there's not so much to focus on with my vision anymore. So it's kind of a weird thing
Right?
that happened there. But like growing up, though, e- there were always kind of signs. Like I don't know, and I guess you don't realize it until you actually are forced to look back at it. And
Right.
when you go to the doctor's office, they give you a little button and you have to stare at the middle of the screen and then they kind of shake little areas of the screen or whatever. It's like a peripheral test, but it hit a point to where I kind of thought the machines were always broken, and I would just stare, and I would honestly be thinking about a song in my head and just and just keep clicking, and like I gotta get some of them right, you know, and but the doctors never said a thing about it, and I have actually been shocked as I figured out about my diagnosis and whatnot. I was shocked to figure out that there are actually people around the world, doctors around the world, and patients and whatnot around the world that are saying this, that the actual medical professionals are still, there are some out there that still don't recognize it, and or maybe have the training or the knowledge about it. So that's very shocking. So the point is, I had there were signs, and then that, I mean, the nighttime got a little bit worse, but we
Uh,
decided as a group in my family to call me clumsy, and that that was all that was going on with me. Like, Austin, the curb, like, you got to look around, bud. You got to look at where you're going.
Pay attention.
It turns out it wasn't that. I am a little bit clumsier, but at the same time, like, I never fall. I'm graceful. But so for me, I actually fully noticed it. It was a week difference from riding motorcycles like a psychopath. And then a week later, I was on the same route that I was on the week before at night, and I was getting ready to do something stupid on my motorcycle to pull a wheelie. And I was on the highway next to people, and I, like, first let's check around and make sure there's no one right behind me or right next to me. And I looked next to me, and there was a bike with two people on it, and a foot and a half away from me, like, whoa, where did you come from? And then I looked to the right, there was another one. So I, like, sat down back down on my seat, like, something is not okay here. That's
yeah.
like, and they're still right next to me. What is going on here? I can't see them at all. It's like having horse blinders on. And then my friends noticed I was in the back of the pack the whole time, and asked, if, like, honestly asked, like, are you drunk? I said, no, it's not because I was swerving and stuff, because I'm usually in the front. I was so slow and timid. And we went to the doctors, and I got diagnosed with, well, first they didn't know I did to get the gene testing. And originally when I went in, it was going to be $1,000 a gene, like an entire
Wow.
gene. Right. So they said, like, without saying that, they were saying, like, you could go bankrupt before we find the gene. And
Yeah.
at the time when I was doing that, or at least around the area I was in, Columbus, Ohio, that there was, I heard different things from different doctors, but there were like 100 genes that they knew of for sure that could create retinitis pigmentosa. So that's potentially $100,000 right there,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And, a month later, the science changed and became $250 for your entire body's gene panel. So that was
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
so here we are. And just kind of moving and grooving through it. It's definitely gotten worse. I don't know. It's hard that, I tell a lot of people this. A lot of people ask, like, there'll be people that can see it and see, like, yeah, you're getting worse, but I can't see it. And I tell people, it's like having a puppy or a kid, and a friend comes over, and 3 weeks later they come back over, like, wow, he's grown so much, but you don't notice it at all. You don't notice the growth and the height that has changed from that kid or that puppy, but it's the same thing with your vision almost, where you just don't see the change exactly. But I'll notice it if I went to like Universal Studios, right? I went there
Mhm.
3 years ago, and then I come back, today, to where I'll notice, oh, I used to be able to see way better in this area.
Yeah.
And that's like how I will notice the changes in it.
See,
But
that's kind of interesting because I feel like I am very in tune with my vision, and I notice changes before even like my eye doctor would, or um yeah, I just feel like I'm very in tune, and I know when it's changing and when it's not. Like
that's
day to
crazy.
day, week to week. Yeah.
I mean, how
I
fast,
also
how progressive?
is mine.
Yeah, like, how did you have a part where it just went boom, or was it just
Yeah.
always a slow move?
So when up to the point I was diagnosed, I feel like it was a really slow move to the point where I didn't even notice. I will say I did have a kind of like the same thing with you on night blindness,
Mhm.
where I mean I had my license and I drove to near Detroit one day. And I'm originally from Michigan, so
Okay.
I was driving to near Detroit one day and I was meeting my parents somewhere and I said, I have a really hard time driving at night. And my dad was like, well, maybe you shouldn't drive at night. I'm like, okay, well, that's not much of a help, but I and I didn't think anything of it. I felt like it was normal. I
Hmm.
also have color blindness, which is part of the condition, and I can't tell pink from yellow um and all that
So
good
Easter
stuff.
is just
But
a blur for you.
no, what's funny is yellow looks good on absolutely nobody. And I told my husband one day, I'm like, I'm gonna wear this pink suit that I had, and he's like,
Yellow.
that's not pink, it's yellow. And I'm like, oh my God, no, no, nobody looks good in yellow. Nobody. Um, I had signs from way back when,
Hmm.
like you said, hindsight's 2020.
Sure.
Um, I had gotten in a car accident. Same type of thing. I was 16. I got in a car accident, checked my blind spot, switched lanes, and
Hmm.
hit a car. Awesome. But even then, nobody knew. When I was finally diagnosed, it was interesting. I went to I was shopping and I had a really rough weekend. It was the time of Blockbuster. You'd look for
Mm,
movies and
good times.
step ahead. Yeah, step ahead, pick out your movie. And it
Oh.
was always me running in front of somebody. And I was working in pharmaceuticals then, and I went into work that day and I called my eye doctor who was about 2 hours away. And I said, either I'm crazy or something is seriously wrong with me. And he
Hmm.
said, well, I don't think you're crazy. What's going on? And I told him and they sent me to the retina specialist. But once I was diagnosed, he said, next time you're in town, come and see me. Even after being diagnosed and I went to see him, looking at my eyes, they don't present as a normal RP patient. They couldn't find the bone spicules and things like
Hmm.
that are in patients with RP. I just have a very, I don't know, unique presentation. But so it presented itself. The progression was slow. Then I had my child.
Hmm.
And right after I had my child, I lost a lot.
Yeah.
I lost
Okay.
a lot of vision.
And for anyone
Yeah.
listening, they could hear that. So Charity has two dogs, one of them being her new guide dog.
Sorry. Yes, I've got, and they were so good up until like a minute ago.
So
Yeah, I
no,
have a guide dog, Arlo, back there, and I also have a German Shepherd, and they've decided now is the time to wrestle. So
obviously,
sorry.
obviously, I love that. So that's interesting. That so, do you think? Did you hear anything? Was the pregnancy like tied to it at all? Because I know pregnancy. I'm a
Yeah,
male here, but you know, I know what I know, right? But pregnancy I know can do some crazy things. Like you can be out of nowhere allergic to things, or it can remove allergies altogether. So did pregnancy have anything to do with the progression of the vision at all? Do you know
they
anything?
they would say yes.
Yeah,
That just the stress on your body.
that makes
Um,
sense.
when yeah, when I was diagnosed, I asked, oh, what can you do? What can I do? It's
Hmm.
nothing. For a while, it was take vitamin A, and now it's don't take vitamin A. Um, and the biggest thing they said is to avoid stress. So, the stress of pregnancy on my body, it was funny because during the pregnancy, it was stable, like everything was stable, and then afterward, it was
So
like
like
this.
labor was probably it that just sent it over
I
the
don't
edge.
know.
Huh.
I don't know. And it wasn't like instantaneously, but within that year, I had gone from maybe like 40 or 45 degrees down to like the 20 mark.
Oh God,
So, yeah.
that is
Yep.
that is so far. Oh,
Mhm.
just all that stress and then it
Yeah.
just doesn't get better. Oh, I'd hate that. Of
Yeah.
course, I don't
Yeah.
have to have
But
kids,
he was
so
worth it. He was worth it. I'd do it again. I
fair
would do it
enough.
again.
So
Yeah.
actually, so where just for anyone listening, because so I don't use a cane yet, although sometimes I probably should, and I don't have a guide dog either. But I know there are different places to go and whatnot, but so you have Arlo, and where is Arlo from? Because you had just done that.
Uh, yeah, so I've had Arlo's my fourth guide dog, and there's a story behind that too. But yeah, he's my fourth guide dog, and I have gotten all of my dogs from Leader Dogs for the Blind in Rochester, Michigan. Great organization. There are many organizations out there to get a dog from. I returned to them not only because I had great experiences with them, but it's the familiarity.
Right.
Like not having to learn a new school when you
Yeah.
can't see. Like I know it's mapped in my head and it's easy for me, but I do truly love them, and um it was a great experience all around for me. I
Well, it seems like he loves
also
you.
oh, I'm so sorry. He does. He does. He loves me.
At least loves your other
He loves
dog.
me. He loves my other dog for sure. Um so I also, after 17 years of being a guide dog user, I decided that I had to actually send one of my guide dogs back. It had a health issue. And after 7 months with me, it had to go back. And that was the beginning of 2026. Yeah, she went back. And while I waited for Arlo, or what turned out to be Arlo, I attended orientation and mobility training with Leader Dog. I had not had cane training up until that point, which is today that wouldn't happen. You
Hmm.
get to cane training before you get a dog. But
Okay.
I was kind of grandfathered in, and they're like, oh, well, now that you've sent the dog back and we've got a little while, you're going to have to wait. Why don't you come for O&M? And I resisted it. Ugh, I resisted it. But as much as I thought I hated it, it was an awesome experience. And now I am both a cane and guide dog user. So.
Well, aren't you special?
Yes, I'm special.
I know I need to
Yes.
get into that. Because they say, obviously like learn the tools and the tricks before you have a much harder time learning them. So I definitely need to get on
Yeah,
that. And I know it's not as simple as it seems, right? Like I want to think that it's
it's
just
not.
like, I mean, it's got to be extreme spatial awareness and like really paying attention to things. So I watch this one gentleman on Instagram. I wish I remember his handle, but he's always wearing, I think his meta glasses, but he's always
Yeah.
explaining his journey when he's walking to a street. Like it's even nerve wracking for me to see, to where he is like, okay, I can hear the car. Like, oh, that was a car. Like, and he said, like, I think I'm on like the road right now. And I could hear the nervousness in his voice, like, nope, nope, nope. Okay, we're good.
Yes.
We're good. And like, that's just, and he's, feeling signs. Like, is this a stop sign or is it a yield sign? They obviously have different, feelings with the edges and whatnot. But, uh, yeah, so I think I need to, it's just not as easy as tapping. Like, and that's what I think that it is.
Oh, no. And it's not, because I did it myself. Like, I was like you. It's like, who can't move a stick? Like,
Right.
who can't do that? Like, everybody can do that. And so I did it. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try it. I had to send in a video actually when I was when I was doing my application for my guide dog. And part of that was your cane skills. And I'm like, okay, I'm
Really
gonna show up. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I did
interesting.
it. I did it. And then when I got to O&M, they're like, okay, let's see what you can do. And my O&M instructor, she's like, that's interesting. Like, what are you doing?
That's one way to do it. Never seen it done like that
And
before.
that's exactly what she said. She's like, that's not wrong. Like that, you can do it that way. You
Mm,
just look weird. And I'm like, well, I don't want to look weird. So
right,
show me the right way to do it. And it obviously so much easier when you have actual training.
right.
And I learned about, yeah, crossing a street, evaluating traffic. And I actually went there blind. They did a blindfold
Hmm.
session with me where I had obviously I couldn't utilize my vision at all. And I crossed like a five lane intersection, and it was nerve wracking, very scary for me. But
And it was
the,
intentional. You weren't just
yeah, it
you
was,
weren't walking.
no, yeah, it was
You weren't playing
intentional. And
Frogger. Okay, cool.
no, I think I was a little bit, but she was there to pull me out of traffic if need be. But I did it. It was good. It
Good,
was
good.
good. So
Okay.
why do you choose not to use the cane or have a dog?
Well, I would, okay, so I would love to have a dog, but it's just because I would love to have a dog because I like dogs, right? But, and
Right.
also I have this fear, which, and, it's cool to see your dogs playing together because I just don't understand guide dogs the way they work. But from what I understand, like they know when they're on the job and when they're not on the job.
They
And
do.
that's an interesting thing to me. I always thought that they were always just that, constantly doing their job. And I honestly kind of felt bad about that. It's like someone that never gets to like clock out, but having another
Yeah.
dog, I am also worried about my dog going, why does, you know, X dog always get to go with you everywhere? And I don't
Yeah.
now, like
Yeah.
that breaks my heart 'cause I love my girl to death. And,
Yeah.
but, and I also, I just don't think that I'm there yet. So I told them to stop telling me my degree of vision because it didn't help me. And I'm someone, if you tell me what something is for me, I'm gonna start living within that box and not push the boundaries at all. And I like to push the
Yeah.
boundaries of what I'm capable of doing and whatnot. And it's maybe something I should work on in some way. But so that's I think I'm at maybe 10 degrees, if not a little lower. I'm not positive. That's kind of what they
Mhm.
told me last time. But again,
Yeah.
I told them not to tell me, but I don't find myself a lot of time needing to use a cane. And it's maybe because I don't know, I frequent places I'm so aware of already, I'm so familiar with already. And I have found that using my phone helps a ton, not because of the flashlight. The flashlight does nothing anymore for the most part, but using the camera, because I'll hold my
Yeah.
phone out in front of me, and then the camera will take whatever is in the screen. So a lot of them are wide angle now, and it will push that
Yeah.
screen or that
Condense it.
room or whatever all the way to the screen and brighten it up. So I will stare at
Yeah.
that. But then it's funny, right? Because I'm walking behind friends at bars or restaurants or whatever, and I'll be just like staring at what it looks like a dude's butt. Like then someone looks back, but if someone looks over my shoulder, and when I was just with my friend on Sunday, and we were having brunch, and she's going to the bathroom. Like, what? I'll go with you because that way I know where I'm going. Because that's what we have to do
Yeah.
sometimes, just like wait for someone
Yeah.
else. And I'm just one of the
Yep.
girlfriends that want to go have fun, and but I'm walking behind her and just like, oh my god, you have lost weight. You look great. Like, work it, girl, work it.
Oh my God.
You know? That's all I'm staring at, and then she obviously was having a blast with it, kept like turning around looking. It was a lot of fun. But so like right now, that's what I use. And um, it's just, it's not a big, like, I think, I hear a lot of cane users say this, that more so than using the cane themselves and it actually being a big help to them, which I know you hit a certain point where that obviously is a thing, but it's one of its biggest uses is everyone else around you now recognizing you as someone who has vision loss, and they'll clear a
Yeah.
path, get out of your way and understand, because the fact of the matter is with people in our community that deal with what we deal with is that, and it's not that the world is just all mean people or something like that, but because it's, something that can be considered an invisible disability, sometimes
It
that
is.
people have a nasty attitude. Sometimes, the sighted community can have a nasty attitude because they're not used to someone who they think, because everyone asks, like, you don't look blind, or says you don't look blind. Like, could you draw me a person? Could show me a person that looks blind? And it's just like, it's not
Stevie
exactly
Wonder.
right, which you
We're
wouldn't
all
know by
about
the way
Stevie
he
Wonder.
plays,
That's true.
you
That's true.
know? And it's so that's like, so that's one of the reasons I think a cane could be useful. Uh, and I tell myself I wouldn't be nervous about it or I wouldn't be embarrassed, but I think I probably still would be.
I
And it
was.
just because no matter what, everyone's looking at you. But I'm already like, if I'm willing to walk through a bar and just plow through tables or knock over a tray or whatever,
Right.
like, and do it with such swagger, then I'm pretty sure I can do a cane. Like, I'll probably be very cool with a cane. I imagine, like, some cool little walk with it too. Like, uh, you know.
I
So
found
yeah,
it saves you a lot of embarrassing moments because when I don't use my cane or my dog, I have to use sighted guide. And if my
sure.
sighted guide has to separate from me for any reason, I'm like, shove me up against a wall. Just put me up against the wall. That way, because if somebody says, excuse me, it's like,
Right.
I don't know where to move. I can't.
Yeah.
So, and also with the cane or with the dog, when I'm standing there and I'm speaking to someone and they move and I'm still speaking to them like they hadn't moved, I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
like right there. Or they go to shake my hand and I just stand there
Mm-hmm.
like I don't want to touch them. Then having the cane or the dog, it's like, okay, well, she can't see. Like it makes more sense. Some
Right.
of my behaviors make a lot more sense to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID was probably so awesome for some of us, like 6 feet, like distance and whatnot. Like you're not running
Yes.
into people and
Yeah. You
no one's
can't shake
shaking
my
your
hand.
hand.
Yep.
I'm just like you,
Yep.
bud.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So moving on, let's talk about so you Central Vision podcast, you are the originator
Yeah.
of Central Vision. We did not know each other at all, but
No.
you created it. So tell me about that. Like
Yeah.
when did you start it? Why did you start it?
So I started it at the beginning of this year. And when I went into it, I never wanted to do it alone, but I could never get anyone to commit to doing it with me. Now, I was looking within my friend group.
Hmm.
So I had gone to Leader Dog to get my previous dog that ended up having to go back. And while I was there, I found this community of people. I don't know why it clicked in that class, but I left there. I collected 4 or 5 really good friends. And up until that point, I had kind of put myself in a box. My previous guide dog had retired quite a while back. I had not had cane training yet, and I was 3 years out from when my previous guide passed away. I wasn't sure if I was ready for a new one, and during that period of time, I put myself in a box, and I was afraid to leave the house. I wasn't doing social things. I mean, I wasn't a hermit, but it was getting that way.
Hmm.
So when I went to Leader Dog for my last dog, I developed this community of people who knew what I was going through because I didn't have anybody, who knew what I was going through, who supported me through it, who, um, when I talked to them, they were not just sympathetic, they were empathetic. Either they had been there or they were on their way there to where I was.
Hmm.
And while I was at Leader Dog, I realized that while I developed this strong community of friends that I could take with me, there were a lot of people in the class who didn't have that. And I wanted to find a way to give those people a voice and a way to connect with people in the blind and visually impaired community other than just that class at Leader Dog. So I worked with someone for a while and we thought we were going to do the podcast together. And at the last minute, she was kind of like, not really my cup of tea, which as you and I both know, it's a lot of work.
Hmm.
If your heart's not in it, it's a lot of work.
Sure.
So I decided I would go it alone, which like I said, I did not want to do. So it was rough. I have minimal vision, the technology piece.
As I
You've
found out with you.
experienced you've experienced my level of expertise with technology. Every time Austin gives me a little hint, which is like a minuscule thing for him, I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. He's like, you didn't know that? I'm like, no, I didn't know. But so I did it by myself for a little bit and it wasn't what I wanted. And so I reached out into the low vision community. I went into, I think, the RP page and said, hey, this is what I want to do. Is there anyone who has any interest in, like, even temporarily helping me, like being on here with me? And that's when Austin answered the call.
Is
Thank
that when it
God, because you
was?
were the
I
only.
really don't remember. It's just like
Yeah, that's what it
you
was.
just I swear there's so many people in this community like they just didn't exist and then they were just there all the time now.
Poof,
Like
here we are.
now it's just Charity always texting me and always calling me and
Yes.
always saying, "Oh, I learned how to do this," because my role is also tech support for everyone listening.
Yes,
That's also what I
he
do.
is the tech support. He is the tech support. And
So
I do when
I don't think that I knew that you were already starting it with someone else. I don't know that I understood that I actually replaced someone, more or less.
You
I did not
didn't.
understand that.
Okay, so you didn't. She originally was going to do it with me, and when the got
When the
down to
time
brass
came. Yeah.
tacks, she was like, "This isn't my thing."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Okay, yeah." So it's not like she started it with me and then
Okay.
she's gone. It was it's always been just me. But the idea was to have somebody else.
Sure.
But I didn't
Okay.
want to just put it to the side once
No.
she said it wasn't her thing because I feel
Right.
like it's important.
Right. And that, I mean, that's a great like segue with all this too, because, it's, because as everyone knows that's listening to this, as you know, Cherry, there are so many podcasts out there, and there are shockingly a lot in our community. But I mean, I think everyone has their own like idea of what they want it to be and the reasons why they do it.
Yeah.
So originally, like for you, when you were starting Central Vision, what was it that you wanted to come from it? Even if it's changed now, what was it? Or maybe you didn't know completely what it was going to be, or just talk about that.
I didn't know completely what it was going to be. I felt like it would grow into something that I could, as it grew, I would mold it into exactly what I wanted. Like if a piece came up that I didn't like, I would just slough it off, set it aside. And
Hmm.
if a piece grew that I loved, I would just embrace it and build more of that into it. But it really was around community and giving the blind and visually impaired community a voice and a way to share their story, share their experience, share their expertise. I never wanted it to be about education because I don't feel like I'm the expert. I'm more than happy to share my story and my experience, but that's all it is. And everybody has a different story, a different experience, and things that based on my level of vision, my type of vision loss, things that work for me. Like I think, oh, that's the most brilliant thing in the whole entire world. And I do it this way. You may be like, that doesn't even work. Like
Right.
that doesn't work for me, depending on what type of vision loss you have, because we both have RP.
Hmm.
And I think that's important to share too. We both have RP, but that's not what this is about. It's
Hmm.
not about RP. It's about vision loss, whether it's from glaucoma, Stargardt's, Ushers. Um, I have a friend
There's
who
so
has
many of them.
birdshot, things I've never heard of before. And
Wait,
it's
there's something
about
called
all of it.
birdshot.
What's that?
Are you saying that's what it's called? Is birdshot?
It's called birdshot.
That
Yeah.
isn't that like a shotgun shell?
I
Okay, we're gonna trust Charity here, but for anyone listening, look into it because we're don't like you said, we're not the educators here.
definitely not educators. I'm not anyway. You might be, I'm not.
Nope, 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 absolutely not. And that's what, like, for me joining you, it's because I already wanted to do a podcast myself. And what I knew I wanted to talk about, and was at least a podcast within the vision community, is I just wanted to hit. I feel like there's so much that is unsaid in all the community pages. And I mean, there's a lot of people asking things, but even if they ask the right things, it gets buried so quickly. And there's so many groups for, I mean, just retinitis pigmentosa. And then there's Usher groups, there's Stargardt's groups, there's just low vision groups, there's blind dating groups, blind friends groups, blind supporting groups. I mean, there are so many of them. And it's almost too much. So even if you finally, and because it's hard to ask questions in our community sometimes to get to that level of confidence for some, it's a road to get there. And then you finally ask the question, then like hardly anyone even sees it. Or maybe you're just scared to ask the right questions. So that's something I wanted to really come out of this, is to talk about the topics that are almost never talked about, or they're never acknowledged. And there's so many things. And then, yeah, to bring on the people from our community. It's not just people that have cool stories or just the experts, it's everyone. And that includes people who are outside of our community. If you're a mother or a brother or maybe an employer, or in some way you come into contact with someone who is non-sighted or is losing their vision, or low vision or blindness, that you can ask the questions that you want to ask and address the things that you want to address, and for everyone to learn and in some way become a metaphorical bridge between the sighted and the non-sighted community. So that's something like that's really what I wanted to be able to bring to it. But then to make it natural, right? To be able to do these conversations that we're doing, because I just don't feel like a lot of people we talked about this, right? We want to make sure that people feel like they're pulling up a chair with us or hanging out with us. This is
Yeah.
not about being serious. This is not, I mean, some of it is going to be serious, right? We'll hit those topics, but it's not about coming here to sit you down, hand you a textbook and teach you something. It's giving our own introspective about everything and just
Yeah.
letting the conversations flow and inviting everyone from every facet around us into our world and to experience it with us.
And I
Right.
think it is important to get the perspective of the sighted community,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a perspective that we don't have. Like, I don't have the perspective of the sighted community. I often have to try to think, like, how would I handle something? Because I get irritated. Sometimes, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
get irritated. Like,
Sure.
oh, stop doing that for me.
Yeah.
Stop helping me like that. Just stop. And then I think, what would I do if I was sighted and ran into someone who is visually impaired? What would I be
Mhm.
thinking? Like, but I don't know because I'm not that person. So
Sure.
I do like the perspective of the sighted community, and letting them know, like hearing what they think,
Mhm.
what's going on in their mind when they're trying to assist us, but then giving our perspective as well and saying, okay, that may be what you're trying to do, but this is what's happening.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and that's important, right? Because it's I mean, just like you said, it's before I, like, started experiencing RP for myself, like, I don't know how I'd respond to that. I mean, I've never been, like, a mean person, but,
Right.
I would be confused, and alls I have, at my disposal is to associate this situation of this person who just ran into me or fell over something or whatever to associate with my previous experiences. So I'm going to think maybe you're drunk or maybe you're just
Exactly.
rude, you're clumsy, you don't care. That's what I'm going to assume, is going on because I don't think that this conversation has opened up enough with the sighted
Mm-mm.
community. We all talk about this amongst ourselves, but we don't actually reach out and give the people around us the chance to understand their point of view and to let them into our world and to openly talk about it. And I think that's a big, big miss. I was at the beach one time and a friend of mine was with me and we walked into this beach bar, beach restaurant, whatever. And I stepped on this woman's shoe kind of hard. And I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", 220 pounds. And I stepped on this younger, I mean, not younger, but smaller woman's foot. And she was very not happy about it. I'm just very upset. And I've gotten good at dealing with these kinds of things. Just like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I did not
So
see you.
sorry.
Listen, I have this, like the mask off kind of thing. I have this blind thing going on with me. And I just don't see very well. I'm so, so sorry. And it's about like the facial movements you make. And like, and I might be
Yeah.
looking like 2 feet away from her head, but I
Right.
am looking towards her.
Right.
It might have helped my case. But
Right.
so I did that. Then I think she understood, and the gentleman that was with her understood that this guy is being very serious right now and being very genuine
Yeah.
about it. So I kept walking, but then my friend walked in, but he saw a little bit of that interaction. And he started getting upset with her and being a little aggressive with her. And I
Yeah.
had to go over
No.
and grab him and pull him aside, like, I'm so sorry, guys, whatever. And I had to, tell them, like, listen, man, this isn't okay because I did that happened. And, all I know is someone stepped on their foot and it wasn't
Right.
okay. And it might have hurt or whatever. But you need to understand that I needed them to walk away from the situation and having a different perspective, a different view on those kind of situations happening. So the next
Right.
time that this might happen to them, they don't just jump to someone was rude or someone was drunk or whatever, was just careless, that they think, hey, wait, maybe this person has a vision condition, and they approach the whole thing differently. And that's like a slow way of, spreading awareness in some way. But when you go after them and be aggressive about it, like now they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth about this. They're going to remember me and this happening, and they're going to remember aggression behind it. They'll probably forget about the
Yeah.
niceness because, it's like that thing that, you know, most
Mm.
people feel the need to review a restaurant or whatever and put bad reviews. No one,
Yeah.
people don't go out of their way to say great, great, great. Not that it doesn't
Awesome.
happen, but they remember the bad times and less of the good
Yeah.
times. So like that's a
Mhm.
really like a good thing that I want to come out of this is to start bridging that gap and start developing those relationships and conversations with everyone. You know.
The part that I would really like, and it happened to me at church. This is just this past weekend. I, I've started to become more assertive with
Hmm.
what I need, and like you said, not in an aggressive manner. But I'm going to give
Hmm.
you two examples. Like, someone I met a couple new people at church just yesterday, and when before they left my side to go about to do what they were doing, I said, "Oh, it was really nice meeting you, so and so and so and so. I'm probably not going to recognize you in the room again. So if you see me, if you would just say, hey, Charity, it's Susan, or hey, Charity, it's so and so. And
Yep.
I'm started to take that approach where I used to hide and be like, oh God, if I see him again, I'm not going to recognize them. But they know I'm visually impaired, and how can they help me? The other thing is when I leave church, it's the nicest thing. We have door openers, and someone opens the door for me and my guide dog all the time. And you would think that's like the best thing in the world. For a
Yeah.
guide dog handler, it's not. I use the door to orient myself in and out
Mm,
of the door so I don't
that
run
makes
into the door. I
sense.
have the door handle. Yeah. And so I'm starting to try to educate people like, I know you're trying to help me, but if you
Hmm.
want to help me, close the door. Like, close
Yeah.
the door in my face.
It's how to
But
show up
yeah.
correctly, right? Like that's,
Yeah.
something I don't know. Did you ever go through my Red Knights Pigmentosa guide? Did I
I
ever get that
did.
to
I
you?
did look at
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
You
have a
sent
whole
it.
section like on things like this, right? And the point of it being is like how to walk next to us and not
Yeah.
guiding like it being like metaphorically, like being in front of us and guiding us like that. Because I mean, you don't know what we need and you
Right.
don't ever want to assume. And it's like, to be called out like that is, and it's just, we're already losing our independence. So to
Yeah.
have someone on their own accord take away more of it. And I know they're just trying to help. And that's a hard balance because you can't flip out at people because they're just trying to be there for you. And that's a
Right.
really hard distinction that you have to like. I remember my skin would start crawling. I would start like heating up because, you never see yourself in this position. And, they're
Mm-mm.
just trying to help you. But then you're looking at yourself like, I'm the person that needs help now. And it's a hard thing
Yeah.
for all of us usually to ask for help. I mean, not just the, people in the vision loss community, but in the entire world. No one likes asking for help,
Yep.
you know? But so
Yep.
awesome. Did you want to say something else?
No, no.
Well,
It's just something that I know that we're going to get into. All of
mm-hmm,
the things that we've kind of just touched with an umbrella, we're going to dive deeper into.
sure.
And there's so many topics that have so many questions, but it's for another day and another time.
That's right. We have so much time to talk
Yeah.
about this. I hope you guys that are
Yeah.
listening are here for the long run because you're going to hear so much ridiculousness that's going to happen on here. Because it already happens like outside of it. It's a constant like we should have been recording, and it just happened before this. Oh my god, you should have been recording
Yeah.
that. I totally was, and I
Yeah,
cannot wait
Austin's
to
really
show you
good.
guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, he's the tech guy, so he's really good about capturing my ridiculousness and not his own.
It's a
Like, so
Kodak
yeah,
moment for
whatever.
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, so that's how we're going to wrap it up today, guys. We just want to give you a quick intro, kind of who we are, a little bit of our background, let you know that we are indeed a part of the vision loss community. We are not just two people that are here to pretend that we know things. And most of the time, we're going to be speaking on our own experiences and what we have learned and what we know, and from the guests that we have on here the things that we find out along the way. So we would invite you to go ahead and get online. If you have Instagram, at us at Central Vision Podcast. And then on Facebook, it's the same exact thing, facebook.com/Central Vision Podcast. Also our website, centralvisionpodcast.com. I think you guys get it. YouTube, Central Vision Podcast. But we're going to be on every platform. And when we release this, we will also be releasing another episode or two. So you guys can jump right into what we're about, what we're doing, and all those fun things. So We hope you enjoyed yourselves. You have a great time. We hope you share this. You hope that you write into us. If you have any questions, if there's things that you want to ask, if you're someone that's sighted or in the vision
Yeah.
loss community, please message us. Please send us an email at centralvisionpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from
Yep.
you. We'd love to put it up on our podcast and answer the questions to the best of our knowledge. And I mean, who knows? Maybe one of your questions will line up with the guest that we have on, and we can ask someone that is actually maybe experienced, that has some expertise and things like that. So, unless you have anything else, Charity,
No, I'm great. Thanks for listening.
awesome. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll check back with you soon.